Hello everyone, my name is Master Steve, and welcome back to some more Hunting Simulator 2. So no, your eyes aren't deceiving you. I've actually come up with an entire fully long 15-minute video for this game, which I haven't done in I don't know how long, but in this video we're going over every single traditional rifle in the game. So we're not doing the modern sporting rifles because, I mean, they're pretty much all the exact same. It's just the REC-7 and REC-10. There's not really much of a difference between the two of them. And we'll do the shotguns in a different video, but I thought in this one we can take a look at all these subtle, recoil differences, rate of fire differences between all the rifles in this game, and kind of give them a little short review and kind of help you guys figure out which one will suit your playstyle the best. And we're just going to, we're going to go super quick through all of these. So it's going to be about 30 seconds per each rifle. I'm just going to kind of go over the recoil, rate of fire, how they handle, whether I'd recommend it or not, and kind of, if it would suit your playstyle or not, and what they're good for. So again, 30 seconds per rifle. I don't want to waste anyone's time, and we're just going to go super quick through all of these. So the first gun we'll be looking at is going to be called the X-Bolt Composite SF Threaded, and it's going to be the 30-06 variant of it. Now this rifle is actually really good, and it's a great one for anyone starting out in this game. So if you look at the recoil pattern, it's just very minimal. It's always kind of slightly up and to the right. And if you need a follow shot with this gun, it is very good at that because the recoil is so minimal. Now at short range and long range, it is perfectly accurate. It handles very nicely. The rate of fire is actually great. So chances are you'll be able to finish off an animal even if it does start to run. So honestly, very good rifle. Now the next one we're taking a look at is the X-Bolt Eclipse variant. Again, it's going to be one of the X-Bolt rifles. It's kind of the same to the first one, but this one has even less recoil than the first one. I mean, if you look at this, I mean, even after you shoot, your reticle barely even leaves the target. So that is super great, and I still use one personally for like small game like coyotes and cougars because it really does hold up that well, and it is just awesome to use. So this one, I would give like an S tier 2 basically. I mean, it is fantastic and one that I would definitely recommend picking up. And the next one we're going to look at is the X-Bolt Hell's Canyon Long Range. Is another X-Bolt rifle. It's going to be the .270 variant. And I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this gun. The recoil is a little more than the previous variant, which is kind of not ideal. There are some better 270 variants you can be using. But honestly, this thing it's not bad. It's not the greatest, but if you have to use it, it will work. The accuracy is great. And it's not the greatest, but there's nothing wrong with it to say. So the next one I'm taking a look at is the Zenith Wood HC, the 9.3x62 variant, and it's fine, I guess. I mean, I would recommend it, at the same time I kind of wouldn't. The recoil on it is kind of extreme. There are some better guns on this list with more recoil control for the 9.3x62 variant, so it's okay. It's very accurate, but if you need a follow-up shot, chances are the recoil is so extreme, you're probably not going to get the follow-up shot. So the gun after this we're taking a look at is the Zenith Big Game HC, the 30-06 variant, and it performs very similar to the Zenith Wood HC that we just looked at. It has that same, kind of traditional recoil for this gun. Again, very high recoil, except this one, it does seem that the pattern for the recoil is just vertical, so it is kind of easy to control, and you do have a higher chance of getting the follow-up shot off. But, I mean, it works, but there are going to be some better 30-06 variants on this list, so if you use this gun, it's totally fine, but again, there are some better options. So the next one we're taking a look at is the Zenith Wood Fluted HC Alpha Threaded 30-06 variant, and it performs exactly the same to the one we just took a look at. I mean, there's really no difference between the two of them. The recoil is a little less vertical. I kind of played around with it a lot, trying to see if I could find any big difference, but there really isn't. I mean, the recoil is just the exact same. It's accurate, but again, same complaint of if you need a follow-up shot, chances are the recoil is so high, it's going to be hard to line up that second shot. So, not a great gun for beginners, but it does work. Now the next gun is going to be the Merill SF Fluted Threaded HC, the 9.3x62 variant. And if you look at this thing, well, the recoil is far less than the Zenith Wood, and it is a much easier, it's just a much better gun. It's very accurate. I like the fact that recoil is much less because if you need that follow-up shot, it is much easier. Now again, in the recoil, you can see it does still jump a bit, but it's not as much as the Zenith Wood, so I would recommend this gun. Super good. Now the next one I'm taking a look at is the Merill SF Big Game 9.3x62, and I mean, it performs the exact same as the previous gun. I do feel like the recoil is pretty much the exact same. Again, I tried very hard to sit around and look for differences between these, but all of these kind of seem to have the following theme. All the Merill guns have great recoil control. They're very accurate, and I mean, they're all viable options. They're super good. This one, I mean, I did kind of miss a target at long range, but I felt like that was my shooting and not the gun itself. Again, super accurate. So this one's going to be the Merill SF Grade 5 Monte Carlo fluted, the 9.3 by 62 variant, and it performs the exact same as its brothers do. Again, recoil pattern, very, very good, and the rate of fire is actually very, very nice. So if you guys need a follow-up shot in any sort of way, this is a great gun for beginners. If you're using stuff for like moose, bears, or whatever, I would call this one of the best options you have. So again, very, very good rifle, and I would recommend it. Now, the next gun I'm taking a look at is actually going to be one of my personal favorites that I'm kind of biased to. It's going to be the T3X Camo Stainless. Now, this thing is awesome. This is the .338 variant. I mean, if you just look at this thing, it's a very high caliber rifle, and look at the recoil pattern on it. It's always going to be that slightly up to the right, and I mean, this gun is awesome. So I personally use this gun a lot for like bears, moose, everything like that. Because for large game, when you do need a follow-up shot, you need to get it off quickly. And I mean, because of the very, very minimal recoil on this thing, I mean, it is perfect. I would highly recommend anyone pick this up. It's actually not a very expensive rifle at all. Awesome. So the next one's going to be the T3X Force, and it performs the exact same as the T3X Camo Stainless. Again, very, very minimal recoil, and this is what you guys should be using. I feel like these guns are just the absolute best. I mean, you can't really get any better than these. I mean, if you look at the accuracy and the recoil and the rate of fire, you really can't mess up an animal. It's going to be a guaranteed kill every time. These things are awesome, and again, they're very high caliber with that .3338. So, awesome stuff with that. And the next one we're taking a look at is the T3X Super Light. It's going to be the 30-06 variant. This thing, I mean, I would honestly rate it a little bit lower than its brothers. I mean, the recoil pattern is the exact same. It has that great rate of fire still, but again, there are some better 30-06 variants of guns later on in this list, so it doesn't get top tier for me, honestly, because there is, again, one better 30-06 rifle later on, but again, it's not a bad rifle in the slightest. So moving on, after this one, we have the 85 Bavarian series. This is going to be the 85 Bavarian. It's going to be the 338 variant, and I just do not like this thing. It's the same caliber as the T3X Force. I mean, look at the recoil. There is absolutely no reason to be using this over the T3X because, I mean, the recoil is out of control. It jumps insanely high, and if you need a follow-up shot on an animal, it's just not going to happen. This thing's recoil is ridiculous. You can't really control it. I do not recommend this, and I would not be using it. Now, the 85 Carbon Wolf is going to be the 9.3 by 62 variant, and it's kind of similar to the 85 Bavarian. This thing, I mean, the recoil is really, really high. I mean, for the 30-06 variant, sorry, the 9.3 by 62 variant, I mean, it's okay. There are some better ones on the list. But, I mean, again, I would not recommend this one for beginners. You can still get yourself a nice kill with this thing, but you better make sure it's a one shot because chances are if you didn't like the follow-up shot, it's not going to happen. Now, the next one to take a look at is the 85 Finlight 2. It's going to be the 30-06 variant, and this is probably the worst 30-06 used in the entire game. The recoil for all of these 85 guns are terrible. I don't understand why anyone would choose these. I mean, you can get a nice kill with them, but there are so many better options. I mean, if you look at the long-range capabilities of this thing, it jumps so high. If you think about a moving animal, I mean, if you miss, the animal's gone. So, I mean, just do not use this thing. It's not worth it. Just stay away from it. Now, this one's going to be the 85 Hunter. It's going to be the .338 variant. And again, all the 85 guns, they have horrible recoil. I would not be using any of them. They are just not worth it. So if you're an experienced player, I mean, you just kind of want to change up your loadout occasionally, fine, use it. But if you're a beginner in this game, trying to make sure you're always secure in the kill to get your credits up, don't use it, don't buy it. Kind of save these ones for last because they're just not really necessary. The next one's going to be the 85 Hunter Laminated Stainless Steel. Again, it's going to be a 338 variant. And again, why would you use this thing? Look at how high the recoil is, and it's just not fun. I just don't understand it. It's just so much worse than the T3X. There's not really a reason to choose this over the T3X variant. It's just pathetic. I just don't like it. So I would not recommend this in the slightest to anyone. I mean, I feel like that one, I mean, I did miss the target a little bit. That's kind of my shooting, but again, I just don't recommend it. Now, this one's going to be the Speedline Classic, the 30-06 variant. And this is the gun I've been alluding to. This is the best 30-06 in the entire game. I mean, look at the recoil of this thing. Super slight, very easy to use, and just totally awesome. I love this thing. If you need to use a 30-06, use this. It is perfect, easy to get a follow-up shot. The rate of fire is great. I mean, the accuracy is perfect. You will not be missing with this thing. Absolute S-tier gun. Now, this one's going to be the Speedline Bête Noire. Again, it's going to be a 30-06 variant, and you cannot mess with this thing. It is awesome. Now, the recoil on this one does feel like it goes a little more right than the previous one, which is fine, honestly. I kind of prefer when the recoil goes right or left instead of up, because chances are if an animal starts to run that direction, you kind of have an easier time with the follow-up shot. So again, highly recommend this thing. Any of the Speedline guns, they're all fantastic and easily the best 30-06s in the game. This is going to be the Speedline Gator. Again, it's very, very similar to the previous two Speedlines, and again, it is nothing short of perfect. I absolutely love this thing. There's nothing wrong with it. The recoil does kind of feel a little more vertical than the previous one, but that's totally fine because, I mean, the recoil is just so minimal. I just don't have any complaints about it. It is awesome. And the accuracy of it is spot on, perfect every single time. You cannot mess with this thing, and it is great. Now, this one I'm going to say is the best gun for small game in this entire game. So this is going to be the Model 70 Coyote Classic. It's going to be the .308 variant, and it is awesome. I mean, look at every time I shoot this thing, the recoil is so minimal, and it's so easy to get a follow-up shot. The rate of fire is great. So if you're looking for like coyotes or like cougars or anything, this is the gun you should pick up. It's really, really cheap, easy to use, and one of the best guns in the entire game by far. The next one I'm taking a look at is the Model 70 Extreme Weather, the 30-06 variant. So it is kind of like, it's very similar to the one we looked at previously. The recoil, though, is a lot higher. So in terms of 30-06, I would still go for the Speedline series because they do handle so much better. But this one, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. The accuracy is great. It's a great gun. But you just cannot beat the Speedline series when it comes to the 30-06. So that's going to sum up that one, and we're going to be moving on to the Model 94s. So the Model 94 Sport is going to be the first one, and there's nothing wrong with this thing. It's great. It's got a great rate of fire. It has a huge magazine. The recoil is honestly not too bad to control. I really don't have any issues with the gun, except for the fact that it does seem to fall off over range kind of easily. So I tested this gun out for quite a while. I have used it a ton myself in the game, hunting actual animals, not just at the shooting range. And what I've found is that it is not the most accurate. And it's the same with this gun, the Model 94 Takedown. They are the only 30-30 variants of guns in the game, which is fine. I mean, they handle quite well. You get some great kills with these things. But the issue is that accuracy. So if you're looking for like a headshot on a bison or anything, these things, I mean, they work, but in the chance that it misses, it's going to be gone. So they are good rifles, but you do have to take into account you have to be very, very close because the accuracy can be an issue. Now taking a look at the XPR composite, it's going to be the 30-06 variant, and I mean, nothing wrong with this thing. The recoil is fine, the rate of fire is fine. I mean, it's not a bad rifle in the slightest, but I would still argue that the Speedline series is far, far better, and it's more fun to use. So I mean, this thing, use it. I think this is actually one of the first ones you start off with in this game, actually. I mean, like I said, nothing wrong with it, but just not as good as the Speedline series. Accuracy is fine. You won't have any issues with this thing. It's a great rifle, but not the best. Now, the next one we're taking a look at is the XPR Strata Threaded, the 30-06 variant. And, I mean, honestly, this one does kind of compete with the Speedline series. Recoil is very, very minimum. The accuracy is fine. I would kind of call it a close second, but I think the rate of fire for the Speedline series is definitely a lot better. So, I mean, feel free to use this one. There's nothing wrong with it, but again, I think the Speedline series is just better. And then the last rifle we're taking a look at is the XPR Sport Threaded rifle. It's going to be the 30-06 variant. And this thing, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's totally fine. It's a great, great rifle. I really like it. I mean, it's still, again, I'm going to say the same thing. It's not as good as the Speedline Classic series, but again, great rifle overall. And, I mean, perfectly viable option. You'll get great kills with this thing. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. So that's every single rifle in the game besides the modern sporting rifles. I just didn't cover those because there's just not really a big difference between them. So hopefully this video you guys kind of found it helpful. If you're looking for some guns with minimal recoil, definitely check out things like the T3 Yags and stuff like that. So hopefully this video kind of helped you guys make a better choice on what to use in the game. Kind of showed you guys, like, yeah, there are some differences between rifles, but I will say overall, you will still be able to get a great kill with any of them. They're all viable options, but yeah, some are better than others. So that's all I got for you guys today in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. And if you did, make sure you leave a like and comment down below and kind of what else you want to see with this game. And I mean, honestly, I'm going to be honest, it feels great to get back into Hunting Simulator 2 and make some full-length content. I really enjoyed making this video. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.